welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that takes up a huge chunk of all of our lives. I'm talking about sleep. I mean, think about it. We spend nearly a third of our entire existence in this state. But do any of us really know what's going on when the lights go out?
So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a perspective that asks, what if sleep is way, way more than just your body shutting down for repairs? Okay, so to really get into this, let's start with what we do know. Let's ground ourselves in the familiar, fascinating world of science first.
Okay, so science tells us, pretty unequivocally, that sleep is just fundamental. It's not just us either. From a tiny mouse to a giant whale, almost every mammal needs it. It's absolutely crucial for your brain to function, it's when your body does its most essential repair work, and it's how we balance our energy. It's basically a non-negotiable law of biology. Now, a lot of the scientific attention really hones in on one specific stage, REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement. It's this wild time when your eyes are literally darting all over the place behind your eyelids, and your brain, well, it becomes incredibly active, but in a totally different way than when you're awake. This is the main stage, the theater, where our most memorable dreams happen.
So, from a scientific point of view, what is a dream really? Well, you can think of it as your brain just cutting loose. It's this wild cocktail of memories, feelings, and pure imagination all mixed together with some random electrical sparks. And the real kicker? The part of your brain that acts like the sensible adult, the logic center, your prefrontal cortex, is basically off duty. And the result? Vivid and, let's be honest, often totally bizarre stories playing in your head with absolutely no filter.
Okay, so the science explains the how, right? The mechanics of it all. But for a lot of people, it doesn't quite nail the why or get to the deeper meaning. For anyone looking for a different kind of truth, it leaves this one huge question just hanging in the air. And that is the central question we're digging into today. You see, science doesn't really have the tools to measure the spirit, so to explore that side of things, we've got to turn to spiritual texts. And they offer a completely different framework for understanding consciousness and what we're doing every night.
So check this out. This spiritual framework suggests we actually have two different brains, each with its own job. You've got your frontal brain. That's your intellect, your everyday conscious mind. That's the part that needs to rest when you sleep. But then there's the back brain, the cerebellum. And in this view, that's the home of your intuition, your connection to your spirit. And here's the wild part, it's always awake.
The problem we face today, according to this perspective, is that our day-to-day intellect, that part of us that's always analyzing, planning, worrying, it's just gotten so loud. It's constantly screaming for attention, and it totally drowns out those quieter, more subtle nudges from our spirit that are trying to get through to us via our intuition.
And this is such a brilliant way to think about why our dreams can be so confusing and jumbled up. It's not just random brain static. No, from this perspective, it's our loud, bossy intellect butting in and messing with the clear signal from our spirit. It's like a double exposure on a photo, two images laid right on top of each other, creating one big, confusing mess.
So all of this leads to a pretty radical idea, right? That maybe sleep isn't just about resting your body. Maybe it's a whole other life that your soul is living. I mean, this quote really turns the whole idea of dreaming on its head. It's saying a dream isn't just a side effect of sleep, like the exhaust from a car. No, the dream, or maybe we should say the experience, is the main event. It's a whole second life, a parallel reality that we step into every single night.
So you're probably asking, how does this even work? Well, the source material lays out a very specific process. First, your physical body falls asleep. As that happens, the connection, this cord to your soul, loosens up. That then allows what's called the astral body, which you can think of as a kind of spiritual avatar for your soul, to detach itself and wake up in this other ethereal world.
And what's life like over there? Well, imagine a world where your overthinking brain is switched off. A place with none of the inhibitions of your intellect, where everything you do is just guided by pure intuition. In this realm, desires you've pushed down can come to the surface and be lived out, for better or worse. It's also a place for some pretty profound spiritual stuff to happen, like meeting souls who have passed on, or even getting a chance to work through and resolve old karmic baggage.
Okay, so this is the really crucial takeaway here. You know how you wake up some mornings and just feel off? Or maybe you wake up feeling incredibly happy for no reason? Well, according to this, that's not random. It could be a direct echo, a shadow or a glow left over from what your soul just went through. That feeling you can't quite shake? It might just be the emotional residue from your second life, and a big clue about what your spirit's been up to.
Okay, so if we're going on these incredible journeys every night, the big question is, how do we make them, better? How can we make them more positive and harmonious for ourselves?
Well, according to this source, it all comes down to syncing up with a specific cosmic rhythm. Get this, there are these regions of peace, and the gates to them swing open at 8 p.m. every night. But you only have until 11 p.m. to get in. So there's this very specific 3-hour window if you want your soul to have the most peaceful and enlightening experience as possible.
And that leads to some really practical advice. So if you want in on those harmonious experiences, you've got to be asleep before that 11 p.m. deadline. Then you should try to wake up before 7 a.m. to stay in sync with the natural energy cycles. The sources also suggest steering clear of sleeping pills, because they can supposedly paralyze the soul and keep it from traveling. And maybe, most importantly, that time right before you drift off, don't spend it worrying. Use it for quiet thought, for meditation, because that's what can really set the stage for a meaningful journey.
So that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. A question that could totally change how you think about a third of your life. As you get ready for your own journey tonight, ask yourself, were you just dreaming? Or were you experiencing? Are you just shutting down for the night, or are you waking up somewhere else entirely?